Hello, everyone. Rebecca here, and today we're going to be doing a Pilates reformer class, especially for my dancers. So you're going to grab onto two balls. I have two balanced body balls that I use at the studio. And then you're going to adjust your reformer or your carriage to one blue and one red spring, or a heavy spring and then a medium or light spring. So come all the way onto your backs, place the two balls on either side of the sacrum or a little bit wider depending on the width of your hips. But we're going to start right above the glutes, so getting into the multifidus and the QL, and you might even feel a little bit of release in the psoas here. We're going to start with small rocks side to side, tilting the pelvis like you're pouring water out, and then coming back to center and shifting to the other side. Typically, when we do our rocks side to side, the knees are fairly quiet, but I would say you can even have a wider stance with the feet here, and you can let the knees rock pretty naturally. Good. Next, we're going to add our circles to the left side, and you can take these as slowly or as quickly as you like, but make sure you're taking it with your breath. So I like to think inhale to go all the way into that arch, and then exhale to come right and then into your tuck. Good. When you're ready, you can shift to the right side. And maybe you'll start to notice a slight movement in the cervical spine, even as you take your circles here. And you don't have to do anything to fix that, just noticing the natural wave of the spine as you shift in the pelvis. The whole upper body and cervical spine echoes and reacts to the movement. And then we'll take our rocks forward and back. So inhaling into an anterior tilt, and then exhale into your imprinted spine. Good. Trying to get even heavier with every exhale. And I like to take these fairly slowly to try to get all the muscles that you can't normally get with like a foam roller. And then we're going to take the right ball out from underneath that right side of the pelvis, and we're going to shift it to the left glute. So we're going to release a bit more in the piriformis. Level out the hips. You can lower that right heel all the way down to the platform and keep the left heel on the foot bar. You're going to take an inhale to lower that right knee down. Keep the pelvis level as you exhale. Scoop in the navel to bring that leg back up. Good. Now you're going to leave that left knee down, and you're going to press into the right heel to tip the pelvis over to the left. And you're going to find a deep glute release as you pour most of your weight into the ball on the left side. Good. We do this a couple times, inhaling to pour the weight over, and then exhaling to come back center. Good. Let's take one final one, and then we'll shift to the right side. keeping the right foot on the foot bar and then taking the left heel down to the platform. Again, keeping the pelvis nice and level for this one, and just letting that outer glute release as you open up the knee, and then exhale and come center. Good, and then you can add your shifts of the pelvis where you push into the left heel, pour the weight of the pelvis over to the right. You can always adjust the ball if it's moving around if you need to. I had to here. Good. I'm going to place both balls back underneath the glutes. And then we're going to take just a little butterfly. And we're going to hold for the first sets of inhales and exhales. And then we're going to add our anterior and posterior tilts. So inhaling to arch, and then exhaling to tuck. And again, I have the balls a little bit higher than the glutes, not quite where they were for the piriformis stretch. So I have adjusted them to be where they were closer to the beginning of our first exercise when we were parallel. Good. After you feel good about going forward and back, you can take the rock side to side. Do these as many times as you feel you need to. Maybe you're a bit more sore, or you had a long day, or you've done a ton of arabesques. So please take your time with these, and you can always pause the video and then return when you're ready. We move into our circles here as well. I'm just letting the outer hips really open up here. And then I'm using the core to help that release. So my abs are fully engaged. Pelvic floor is playing with an inhale to release and an exhale to engage. But the hips are really trying to just open up and be heavy. When you're ready, we're going to take the balls out from underneath the hips and go ahead and set them to the side of your reformer, nice and out of the way. And when you're ready, you're going to place the right heel pocket on, left leg up in tabletop with a nice flexed ankle. Press the carriage out, deep breath in, and then exhale to come in. Good. Try to stabilize both sides of the pelvis here, even though we're not moving in the left side yet. And now we're going to add some extensions. So we extend that left leg over the foot bar as we bend the right knee, and then exhale this time to draw that knee into the chest. So we're switching up the breath here. Deep breath in to extend, and then exhale to draw the knee in closer to that hip. So make sure you're activating the toes and the ankles. And then draw that left knee into the chest. Take a couple circles of the ankles if that feels good. Good. Let's come all the way back into the carriage and switch to the other side. We keep the right ankle flexed in tabletop, just to remind the pelvis to stay nice and calm, abdominals stay nice and active. And then when you're ready, extend that right leg all the way over, pushing out through the toes, and exhale to come in. Nice, deep breath in to extend, exhale. Just return to tabletop. No need to bring the knee much closer. And then draw that right knee this time into the chest. Give yourself some circles of the ankle. And then reverse your circles. Nice, everyone. Let's come onto the ball of the right foot. We extend that left leg up over the foot bar. And we move into a little envelope here. So we lift the leg up, bend the knee, extend it back out. Good, last one. And then we reverse the direction. So now we move into a développé. Extending the leg over, bring that knee into the hip, extend up, and again, lower, bend the knee, and lengthen. On your last one, we hold the ball of the foot high as we push into the foot bar, keep that top leg extended, and we do some rotation here. So we turn in, turn out, turn in, turn out, turn in, and out. Last one, deep breath in, deep breath out. Nice. Stay in your releve for an inhale. Exhale, we lower the heels down. And then point both feet at the same time, hinging just from the ankles. Really reach out through that top heel. If you need a lower on a lower diagonal, go for it. But if you can, try to keep it 90 without shifting in the pelvis. Good. Then we bend both knees into a parallel attitude position and a forced arch. We flex the ankles together and point. Nice. But keeping a big bend in your knees. This is really good if you have ankle instability or any ankle injuries. It really helps to strengthen that lower calf muscle. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lengthen both legs. We'll take a little hamstring stretch. Draw that left knee closer into the chest. Add some circles if you like. And draw the pubic bone up and forward. And I really am still trying to keep a heavy pelvis, but the pelvis can adjust slightly as you draw that leg a little closer to the chest. But think of the lower abdominals doing the work, not just tucking in the pelvis. Nice, everyone. Let's repeat on the other side. We do our enveloppes first. All right, so on this side, I accidentally started with my développés, but feel free to start with your enveloppés and then reverse as you need to. Just trying to keep you on your toes, I guess. Good. Keep pushing into the foot bar, regardless of which direction you're going. And you want to feel the whole ball of the foot, the whole pad of the foot. Nice, last one, and then we go in, internally rotate, and externally rotates. We just move from the ankles, flexing and pointing. Good. Try to keep the quadriceps pulled up here. So you have a long front of the leg, and then hamstrings get longer as you lower that heel down. And then think of the glute grabbing the hamstring as you lift that heel back up. So that little section where the glute and the hamstring meet wants to stay connected the whole time. And then we bend both knees into our parallel attitudes. And again, flexing and pointing in the ankles. Keep pushing through the top metatarsals and toes like you have a TheraBand on the foot. And then go ahead and lower that left heel underneath. Bring that right leg a little bit closer to your chest. Feel free to add circles or flex and point, whatever feels good. Nice. Make sure you're still breathing in this position. Try not to hold your breath. We do about 10 circles each direction with that ankle, so it might feel like a while. But keep trying to reach that tail heavy into the mat. And then keep lowering that lower rib cage down towards the front of the hip bones, so the abdominals are nice and engaged, and your breath is assisting and not hindering the stretch. And then when you're ready, you'll go ahead and close the carriage. We're going to come into an external rotation and into our fondus next. So we extend the leg up, bring that left leg down to a coupe to the ankle, and then come back up to 90. You want to really try to extend both legs at the same time, and then bend both legs at the same time. Nice. So we're going to add a little lift and lower of that heel when the legs are extended. So we flex and point, and then come back to your fondue and repeat. Flex and point and fondue. All right, last push here. We extend both legs up towards the ceiling, and we're going to go into our single leg circles. So we circle the left in towards the inner thighs. Good. And then we're going to lower that heel down. So we're going to alternate. And then we'll reverse. Same thing. Lifting for one and lower for another. Lift and lower. Last one. Nice. Let's go ahead onto the other side right away into our fondus. Pressing into the middle of that foot. Nice, and keep drawing those lower belly muscles up and in, keeping a heavy tail, right hip socket back into the mat. Good, and then we go ahead and add our flexion here. So we keep both legs long, flex the ankles, and point. Good, and then return back to your fondue, flex, point, and fondue. Flex and point. And fondue. Nice. Again, on this side, I started reverse. So I started going out away from my midline. Take a deep breath in and we reverse. Lower and lift. This is a little coordination. Lower and lift. Last set. Nice. We'll come into a little piriformis stretch. I'm adding some rocks of the pelvis to release in the lower back and also help me release in the outer glutes even more. Okay, when you're ready, keep your springs, and we're going to come with our short straps into our hands. Legs will come in tabletop, and we're going to take our first chest lift. We're going to add an external rotation of the leg and then internal rotation of the legs. So as you lift, exhale, externally rotate, internally rotate, and return back down to the mat. Go out and in and lower. Out and in and lower. If you need to, you can always take the chest lift out of the equation and just do the legs. Or you could even just keep the legs bent as you do your external and internal rotation. Good. If you can, you're going to leave the legs out in a slight external rotation. And then you're going to just circle the legs. The circles do not have to be so big. They're more like little ovals. You circle out and scoop the belly to lift in. And scoop out. When you're ready, go ahead and reverse. Try not to let the lower back move. Good. Lower the arms, lower the head. We're going to leave the legs up towards the ceiling and just move into our supine arm work. Take an inhale and then exhale, lower from the lats, just down to the hips and then back up towards the ceiling. Good. Now we're going to leave the arms up towards the ceiling, and without moving the carriage, you're going to try to open the arms. Lats are fired up, shoulders away from the shoulder blocks, and then back up towards the ceiling. Good. Opening out and in without moving the carriage. Good. Now we add our circles with a chest lift. Open out, try not to move the carriage, and then exhale, lift. If you like, you can lower the legs a couple inches, and then everything comes back in. Exhale, lower the legs, lift the chest, and in. Good. On your next inhale, go ahead and reverse. We press the arms down, lower the legs, and open the arms out as you lower the head and neck. Go ahead and take your straps now and place them on your feet. So long straps on the feet, 4 feet in straps. We're going to start with our parallel little squats here. So we bend the knees, so the heels are slightly above the knees. Knees are right above the hip sockets. And you have a heavy, heavy pelvis here. And then bring the heels together, toes apart. And we'll add some mobility in the ankles again. When you come in with the knees, you'll flex. When you press the legs out, you'll point. And then think of that as your first position, and then we'll shift to our second position. So heels about as wide as the hips, and we bend the knees in, exhale out. Keep reaching the sits bones straight forward. Try not to tuck in the pelvis as you bring the knees in. Nice. And then let's internally rotate. It's okay if the knees don't touch, but you're drawing the navel in so much that the knees come closer together, toes come closer together, and then you press back out into what looks like a parallel position. And last one. Nice. Let's move into hip circles. We keep our external rotation for hip circles. Good. Going out, maybe a little wider each time. Once you have control of the core, good, and 1, then go ahead and reverse. Good. Try to take a rhythm with your breath here. So inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Nice. Not too slow with our circles. Nice, everyone. We move into Peter Pan next. So we bend one knee at a time. I like to bend at 90 degrees to protect those knees and to get a little more hamstring. And then the other leg goes long. The hips stay even here. Sits bones keep reaching out straight forward, straight under us. And go ahead and bring the knees all the way back in. We're going to take some hip circles with a little bit of resistance. This should feel really nice on the hip sockets and on the lower back. I'd still try to keep the low abdominals engaged and the pelvis nice and neutral. When you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction. And then if you like, you can take the legs wide into your second position split or straddle. When you're ready, we'll come all the way up to a kneeling position, and we're going to move into some kneeling arm work. So we're going to take ourselves onto a single blue spring, grab onto those short straps. And then when you're ready, draw the elbows back slightly behind the ribs without opening the rib cage. So think bottoms of the ribs are like magnets towards the fronts of the hips. But I'm going to stay all the way on my heels. And if you have knee issues, feel free to either sit on your short box or you can just sit on your glutes for this one. Keep that engagement and resistance of the elbows staying plugged in towards the waist, and then we just open the arms like French doors, and then exhale, come back in. Again, try to initiate from the shoulder blades, so the lower tips of the shoulder blades are trying to come closer and closer together. And then we add on, so now we plug the elbows into the shoulder blades, open the arms out like French doors, and then extend the arms out into your T position. Good. We are going to advance now all the way onto our knees. Make sure when you're on your knees that we really double check the engagement of the core. Go ahead and set your left strap down. You're going to keep your right strap in. And then I'm going to extend the left arm as I draw that right elbow back. Nice. So as if there's resistance in the left palm, I'm thinking of resisting as I go in both directions. And this is really a twist from the waist. So keep pulling those fronts of the hips up towards your shoulders like suspenders. Nice. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. This time, left elbow back, right arm forward. And I like to shift my eyes as well, so my whole spine is twisting with me, and just the hips are trying to stay forward. Nice. We're going to grab onto both straps now and come into a bicep curl. Now send the pubic bone forward as you lift the palms up overhead, open the arms out to a T, and then come back in with the arms in front of the shoulders. Nice. We're taking a full circle here, and it's really moving from the upper back like a cambre up into the upper back and sternum, and then coming back center. Nice. So think biceps engage. Now core, 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 core as you go up and open and fly the arms out, then back center. Nice. This one feels so good on the upper back. And then we come back to a simplified exercise of just T-arms to remind us of our shoulder blades. So just the shoulder blades initiate as you press the arms back. Nice. I'm not moving very far at all. And we're trying not to use momentum to shift the arms back and forward here. Good. We're going to set that left strap down again. Take the right strap into the palm and adjust the knees back so you're in a big quadruped position. And I'm going to point the feet just so they don't hit the platform each time I come in and out. We're going to take some triceps. So we press the arm back in line with the hip. Try not to twist as you do this, but stay nice and level with both shoulders facing the floor equally. Good. After 5, we go ahead and bend that elbow and press back. Bend the elbow and back. Nice. If you can, try to lengthen all the way. And simultaneously, I think exhale, press back, and then exhale, pelvic floor, transverse, also engage. Nice. So the core and the back are working together. Let's go with the left side. Pressing back, inhale to return. It does also help if you gently press the shins into the mat. Try not to let the feet float up too much. That creates more instability than you're just balancing on your knees. Good. Keep reaching those fingertips far away like you're digging your hand into dirt on the way up. After your last one, you keep the elbow where it is, bend and straight. Nice. Again, just a reminder, exhale to draw the navel up and in. Press the shins into the mat. Push into that right palm. Last one. And then come all the way back in. We're going to change our springs to a red and a blue for a little glute press. So again, come into that quadruped position. This time the right toes come up on the foot bar, belly button into the spine, And as you press into that foot, you're going to lengthen that right leg out. Keep everything else where it is. Stabilize the core, stabilize the shoulders. Good. After your last one, you're going to go down into like a pigeon pose. So I'm parallel when I come up, and then I externally rotate that bottom leg as I come down. A little bit of an overstretch here. So inhale, parallel that left leg. Exhale, externally rotate and lower the hips. And then we come all the way in, close the carriage, and simply switch sides. A deep breath in, and on your exhale, we press the carriage out. Try to fully straighten the leg if you can. If you can't, I would say lower half a spring so you can get the full mobility, full range of motion of that leg. And you can really feel the psoas of the leg that is extending as you lengthen. So it's a really beautiful extension all the way up into the abdominals, up into the deep core. Good. When you're ready, when you finish your last 10, then you're going to press the carriage out, this time with your shoulders. Externally rotate that right leg for your piriformis stretch. Keep that left leg extended and lower the hips down towards the springs. Nice. This should feel really good on the front of the hip and also the outside of that right leg. Go ahead and close the carriage when you finish. And then we're going to come to face the foot bar. We're going to move into a red and a yellow spring for our down stretch. So for down stretch, you're going to press the glutes forward, lift the chest nice and high, arms are long. And then you press the carriage out, space holding that position, lift the sternum up as you close the carriage. We're going to add a variation here. So you come out the same way, press the carriage away with a long spine. This time you round the spine in to close the carriage. Think of your cat-cow. But inhale, press the carriage out. Exhale, send the sternum high. Inhale, press the carriage out. On your next exhale, you round into that angry cat position. Good. Let's continue. As you do this, try to keep your gaze forward as you lift your sternum. And even as you lower, try not to lower until you curve. So tail and head go together. And then we're going to stay in that rounded position for our knee stretch, rounded. So we press out, inhale, exhale, close. We just bring the knees in slightly past the hip sockets. Exhale in, inhale out. It's a quick breath. In and out, and in and out, and in and out. And we do the same thing with a long spine. Keep the glutes reaching past the shoulder blocks. So you keep that diagonal position of the upper body. When you're ready, we shift into our elephant. And for elephant, long back, I like to actually leave the heels up against the shoulder blocks. Typically, it's done with the heels high. So we press the carriage out on our inhale. Keep the sits bones high. Exhale. Try to narrow out that triangle of your body as you close the carriage back in. Inhale, press the carriage out until you can't keep the heels down. And then exhale, close the carriage. And then we're shifting into our rounded elephant. We try to round the chest over the foot bar if you can, or over the springs. And then use your inhale again, press out. This is going to be much smaller. And then exhale, keep that upper rounded back as you close the carriage. Inhale. Keep the position of the upper back. Try not to move from the shoulders. And then exhale, close. Nice, everyone. Let's come all the way off the carriage. And we're going to shift the carriage around for some standing leg work. You'll be on a single blue spring or a light spring. And you're going to place your platform extensor in that little platform extensor cubby. And then lower the foot bar all the way down. We start by first pressing the carriage out with long legs, keeping the legs parallel. And then exhale, draw the navel up and in, inner thighs up and in as you close. Inhale out. Exhale, push down into the floor as you come in. Nice, and the pelvis is shifting as you press out and in. On the last one, we're going to stay with the carriage about halfway out. We're going to go for some squats here. So we try not to move the carriage. I'm not so good on this side. But you're going to try to squat down, keep the knees where they are, hinge from the hip sockets, and then exhale, send the glutes forward, lift the chest high as you come back up. Nice. Send the sits bones down on a diagonal, and then exhale, come up. We'll come in to close the carriage all the way, and do the same thing with external rotation. So externally rotating from the tops of the thighs. Take an inhale out. Now you're going to feel your external rotators a little bit more as you press out. And then exhale, really deep in the rotation as you come in. Nice. And I always end up feeling deep pelvic floor when I come in to the carriage on this one. Good. When you're ready, we're going to shift all of our weight onto the platform and keep all of your weight on that leg. We're going to press the carriage out, keeping your weight on the platform, and then back in. Nice. These can be a little more dynamic. You exhale, press out, inhale, return. Exhale out, inhale, in. All right, we add on, so we press out the same way we just did with a straight leg, then transfer your weight onto that right leg, onto that leg that's on the carriage, and then as both legs bend, you close the carriage back in, like that squat. So think like we're adding all of those dynamic pieces together. You push out into that ski position, and then shift your weight over, and then close the carriage all the way back in with bent knees. Good, last one. And then when you close the carriage, we'll shift to the other side. Make sure you step on the platform first, and then shift your weight back on to the carriage. Parallel feet, parallel hips, and we press the carriage out and in. Nice. Try not to let the tail fall back as you press out, but keep the fronts of the hips coming up towards the ceiling. Again, bottoms of the ribs reach down towards your toes. And on your last one, we press the carriage out just halfway for our squats, sending the sits bones back behind us, pressing the weight into the heels, and then exhale, bring your weight back onto all four corners of the feet. Nice. Feel free to go a little lower if you can. This side's a little bit better for me. Nice. So like you're sitting in a chair, send both sits bones back. And then we come all the way in to close the carriage, shifting into our external rotation. We press the legs out and in. Good. Try to keep those inner thighs rotating forward. And then we hold the carriage out just halfway for our squats. Sits bones go straight down this time, so like a second position in ballet. And then we come back up. Pressing down like you're sliding your back against a wall. And then exhale up. And think of the knees going in opposite directions, so there's a... We'll close the carriage all the way back in, parallel the feet again. And then we bring that left leg close to the edge of the carriage. And we go for our little ski presses. So we press that left leg out. Right leg is stabilizing this time. Try to keep those hips as even as you can. Good. Both sits bones reaching back. Weight slightly into the right heel. And then we add our shifts. So we press out, shift the weight over, think of taking the whole pelvis over like a basketball, and then closing the carriage with bent knees. Bend to the right, shift into the left, and close. Nice low belly up and in, so you're not dumping in the lower spine. And then when you finish, close the carriage all the way back in. We are almost done. We're going to move into a plank series. Placing the hands on the platform. If you need to, you can place a little pad underneath the hands. Toes go all the way back to the shoulder blocks. On your next exhale, we draw the navel in, bring the knees in right underneath the hips for those bear presses. And we come in and out. Think of squeezing the glutes as you press out. Just like we did when we were quadruped with one foot on the foot bar. Last one. Now we do small shifts with the shoulders, taking the weight slightly back and then slightly forward. Just a couple inches, guys. No need to go so far. Last two. And last one. Bring the knees all the way down to the mat, and we will rest in our child's pose. You guys are all finished. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to just invite you onto my new program, which is just for dancers, and it will be for strength and flexibility. And that will be coming. Go ahead and click the link in the description box below and make sure to get your free workshop video from that link. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.